All right, traders, this is the day trading recap for September 24. How do you trade the first hour of the day? Now, you might have noticed I haven't put on any day trades since the last video. And that just reminds us that every day is not a day trading day. Sometimes there might be long-term account growth setups that we're taking. Sometimes there'll be swing trades. We have six. Up until yesterday, we had 6 open swings. We have 3 open swings now. Each one of them is over 200% return. So the reason I mention that is if you have multiple styles working for you, then you won't pressure one style or one symbol to deliver the returns that you're looking for, right? So we got back at it today. Amazon, Walmart, and silver were the 3 setups. So you'll notice what I do in the Sector Secrets Mastery is as we find the setups, I put a time stamp on it, let people know what we're looking for, and we look to get these in the notes so the whole room knows beforehand. Now, the last time I spoke to you, I believe we had one loss and 1 win. We had 2 trades that day. And I showed you how I took advantage of making sure I'm not doing something as dumb as adding to losers. And I'm going to talk about Amazon first. First thing we did on Amazon is we identified what strike and expiration we were looking at, then which triggers we were looking at. And the bottom line is this one stopped out. So I'm going to show you a couple of things on this particular setup. First of all, I'm going to show you all a few tools. So this isn't just going to be a recap. I'm going to walk through a couple of tools and a couple of processes that could help going in the future. So first of all, we know that Amazon is weighted in the NASDAQ and it's weighted in the consumer discretionary. Consumer discretionary was the strongest sector on the morning, mostly led by Tesla, but Amazon was holding its own despite the fact that the NASDAQ was below the previous session closed. It was kind of hanging out at and below that level. But if it could bounce back up, it would make sense that a relative performer like Amazon would be able to bounce. Another thing to think about is this tool right here. Now, for a lot of you, this might be really new, but you can see this tool here with the red line going through it. I'll tell you exactly what it is. We call this the Pingala, right? Sometimes we like to give things nicknames. Well, Pingala is actually who discovered Fibonacci. The Fibonacci number sequence was actually a mathematician and happened to be a poet named Pingala. And so I don't call things Fibonacci. I call things Pingala because that's really where they came from. All right, now what we do for that level, this level is automated, but I'm going to tell you what it is. I just call it the pre-market, magic zone, right? And what it is the 9:15 a.m. Eastern candle, and you simply pull a 32.50 and 68% of that 9:15 candle. That's it. That is it. So you figure out where that zone is, these Pingala levels, right, from the 9:15 candle, and this automates it. Now, if we're below the Pingala, it is resistance. If we're above it, it's often support. But it's a really good line in the sand, much like the previous session close, things like that, to really see that we might be on the bearish sentiment of things. But still, you might say, Rog, why take that potential trade? Because if there's going to be a bounce, I want to be able to take advantage of it. And for a brief period of time, it looked pretty promising until the level fell. We had a 15% risk per contract, and that was it. Right? I'm not adding to it. Imagine if I were, oh yeah, it'll eventually bounce. And here we are near the lows of the day. So don't get in the bad habit of buying into lower and lower and lower lows, presuming a bounce. Just take the haircut. This is 15 cents on the dollar on Amazon. All right, so that wasn't the only thing that we did, but now you're familiar with a few of the things that I do. If you haven't watched the videos in a while, it's kind of refreshing your memory. We use the same process again and again. So silver was the next setup. Now, in order to trade silver, I'm not going to look at SLV. I'm going to look at SI futures, silver futures. And the idea here was to, and note we were above the previous session close right there, but we were below right there, the pre-market magic zone, right? And one of the things to remember about having this 9:15 zone, And anyone can pull this, right? I don't want anyone thinking this has to be some kind of proprietary index. Not at all. Proprietary tool, sorry, on this tool. Not at all. I'm always going to let y'all know the general gist of what I'm doing. I don't believe in black boxes because how can we learn and trust something that we really don't know, even the basics? I'm not saying we have to divulge code and proprietary information all the time, but I think as someone who's teaching people should at least know what I'm looking at. And this one's really easy. Once again, the 915 candle, I'm looking at the 32, the 50, and the 68% of this level. Right? It's actually 62.8, sorry, 62.8%. So these are basic Fibonacci or Pingala, as I like to call it, retracement levels. Yeah. All right. So there it is. So you might say, Rog, it's below that level, but it's above the previous session close. What can we do with this? Well, if I'm above the previous session close and we sink down to support like this Darvis area, I'm going to look for a bounce. That's exactly what we did. It hit the first target, which was in this area. Notice the first target and this pre-market Pingala, right, really worked out quite well. Right? This magic level is incredibly powerful. And it kept prices from going any higher. And then once we got back down to our entry zone, that's a break-even stop. So that was a quick winner that we took from support to the resistance level. And then it just went lower. Now, had I not had this target here, had I not seen where this level is, I may not have been able to take profit. This is also the 50% of the zone, which is very powerful as well. And ultimately, by not having overly ambitious first targets, what's an overly ambitious? The minute someone says the first target has to be 100%, nonsense, right? For us, the second target is often 100, maybe sometimes even 200%, especially in our swings. But that first target has to be quite prudent because that is the first step of your risk management. So a quick win on SLV, and we're watching SI for this SLV trade. And you can see we bought the 38 strike. It bounced. We took profit. And that was that, right? Moved to a break even. All right, the last one we took today, what an eclectic group of trades this morning, is Walmart. Walmart is a consumer staple. Walmart is a symbol that typically does well when the indices are generally lower. So that's when you can look at XLP or consumer staple names. And the one that fit our criteria for an entry right in here was Walmart. You can see shortly after 10 o'clock, put in the alert, got the trigger, and this one was kind of cool, right? This one was not only above the previous session close, but it was also above that 915 magic level that I'm talking about, that Pingala. So like that one a lot, high expectation for bounce. You can notice it bounced right from that Pingala as well. But really what this was the bounce off this Darvis level right here. Also automated, by the way. I automate everything on my charts. Modern day traders, I will say, who have truly a process, can automate their lines and levels on the chart. Drawing things manually really is a thing of the past, because if there's a true process, you can have a coder say, hey, look, what are your criteria? And if you have a clear idea of process, a coder can automate it. And in this day and age, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I love the automation, right? Whether I'm having a good day, bad day, whether the vision is blurry or not, I've got cataracts in both eyes. It is great to know that I can have the automation of the things that I can do manually, but I'm going to let the coding, the indicator, do the work for me. And I still know what's in it. These are Darvis levels. These are support and resistance levels based mostly on the Darvis process. I use minor highs and minor lows. I've already talked about what this magic level is. It's the 915 candle on a 5-minute chart, and then I pull those Pingala levels on that. So this was the bounce, and pretty nice. Notice where we are looking to scale in, 102.78, 102.68, and the first target was the 103.07. And that's really it. That's all we're really looking for. You can see where we got up in that area right there. The idea around day trading is today trading. So ideally, all these trades get stopped out either based on time or targets and I start with a fresh book tomorrow. So right back at it with the day trading. And this is what we did here, all in the first, in terms of entries, when we set them up and got filled, all within the first hour of the